everyone, and welcome back to Haunt the Collector with me, Jace. And yeah, this is a topic I was going to do some time ago now, and I've delayed it. And anyway, I felt that what with recent events, now was a poignant time to really make time to sit and do this. Now, obviously, before I start, let me just make it perfectly clear. These are only my own thoughts, my own opinions based on what I know, what I see going on, and what I think and what I feel. And a lot of this obviously is gut instinct stuff as well for me. So yeah, but obviously at the end of the video, I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are, and shove them in the comments, please, whether you agree with me or not. Now, for starters, let's just start right at the beginning here. So, when we're talking about statues and statue companies and manufacture of statues, we're talking about certain lines, and the big ones really are that, when we look at like Next Level Showcase and reveals and things like that, the big ones are DC, probably the biggest, followed by Marvel. You've got to have Star Wars in there, and now more recently we've got Lord of the Rings. Now, out of those, I've heard people say, and I agree with them totally, that with all due respects, Lord of the Rings is the lesser of the four, in so much as it's not necessarily its core fan base, but more collectors who are willing to spend significant amounts of money on large collectibles, big collectibles. That's what I'm focusing on. So within statue production terms, Lord of the Rings certainly, I would say, is the lesser. Now, in regards to statue production, at the moment, of the main sort of key guys, we have got, with the Lord of the Rings license, currently producing statues for Lord of the Rings. Let's see if I can do this in one take. We have got LOTR Workshop, Prime One Studios, Infinity Studios, Queen Studios, J&D Studios, Darkside Collectibles, Pure Arts, and Iron Studios. 8 companies, and yes, I did it in one. 8 studios out of the main key big guys. The only ones they haven't got is XM. And I was thinking, now I probably don't know enough about those other 3 lines that we talked about. Certainly do with Star Wars, but with DC and Marvel. But I'm pretty sure none of those have that many companies currently making, with their license, making statues. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. So the lesser sort of line, in so much as the amount of money from customers prepared to put into it, into the license, has vastly the most companies currently making pieces. And that for me, you can look at it in one hand, is brilliant because there's so much scope and choice and everything else. Yes, of course there is, but that bubble has got to burst, and I personally think, especially with current events, it's close to happening. Very close to happening, in fact. And certainly seeing a lot of the comments on my last video that I did. And this is why I wanted to talk about it. And I'm going to go through all these companies that I've just mentioned, and basically in regards to their Lord of the Ring license, the ones which I personally believe are the ones with the longevity, the ones that are going to stick to their license, the ones that are going to keep producing, the ones that I feel are the best bet to back, my personal ones. And I'm doing that from my own personal knowledge, experience, and what I see going on around me. Okay? You might agree with me at the end of this video. You might disagree with me. I'd love to hear from you either way. Let me know what you think. But let me say I'm doing this with a very sober approach to this. I've taken off any kind of rose-tinted glasses I might have for certain companies or scales. And I'm doing this as best as I can, bluntly, honestly, based on the hardened facts of what I see happening now in the hobby and with each individual company. Okay, so here we go. Now, I'm going to start with the easy one. For me, this is inarguable. It is inarguable. The number one position is LOTR Workshop. They are number ones. They are the masters. They are Lord of the Rings. They are never going to be even challenged for a number one spot. They have a huge fan base. They have a huge number of collectors who buy and continue buying from them and are extremely loyal to them. and you don't even need to have been collecting Lord of the Rings very long to see that, to see these huge collections. All those huge Lord of the Rings collections, impressive collections, are absolutely teeming with Weta pieces. So straight away, we're talking about a lesser pot compared to the other lines that we said at the start. They're a lesser pot. Now that lesser pot has already been vastly reduced because of the number one masters, the top guys, which are Weta Workshop. So you've got to bear that in mind. You've got to bear that in mind, because that's going to be relevant as I go through. So Weta, number one, inarguable for me. They're there, right? Now, almost as inarguable for me, and I'm going to explain why. Get myself comfy for this one. Is Prime One Studios, and for me, there's little to no arguing this, and I've got to applaud Prime One, because they were sort of, after Weta, they were first out the gate, and my God, did they come out the gate. They already have, I think it is, 11 pieces. 11 quarter scale pieces that have either been released, and 2 are totally sold out. I think it's 2, certainly 1. Totally sold out. 1,000 pieces, because people go on about edition size. 1,000 piece edition size, sold out, gone, done. Also, probably the single best value Lord of the Rings piece to come out in the last 3 years. I'm talking about Sauron. They've got 11 pieces that are either released out, you can buy them now, or are up for pre-order. And we know that Boromir is coming, which is a 12th. And this is in less than 3 years, I think, they've done this. And those 12 pieces actually equate to more than all the remaining companies, apart from, I'm going to take one company, which I'll get to in a minute. All the remaining companies have got, even for pre-order, put together, combined. So they're annihilating the competition after Weta. Annihilating them. Which is why I put them firmly in second place. Also, again, because of recent events, Prime One now, thanks to the, I've got to say, ridiculous pricing that's going on with some of the other companies, are now a good value for money company. They were getting slated at one point for their escalating prices, but now you can, I mean, the Berserker, 650 quid for that Berserker. I mean, that's incredible value. I think the Frodo and Gollum was £700. And this for me is incredible pricing, and okay, they fall under the same problem that certainly here in the UK and in Europe and things like that we've got with the shipping and import fees, but that's across the board for all the remaining ones anyway. I'm not going to get too bogged down by that. We all know that. So because of the, what I find to be slightly irresponsible pricing strategies of some of the other companies, Prime One for me are a extremely solid bet that they will continue, and they will, after Weta, pretty much dominate the Lord of the Rings license in regards to statutory manufacturing. Now, before I get into the main ones, I just want to take Iron Studios, because they're 10th scale. I had to mention them because they are very active, and I have actually just another video coming up about that, and Pure Arts as well, because Pure Arts are kind of doing their own thing here. Now, I like what they're doing. I like these masks. I do think a couple of them are pretty heavily priced, but I don't think Pure Arts are going to be doing a huge amount. So I for that reason, and because it's a sort of a separate thing, I'm moving them to one side out of this, because it's kind of irrelevant. And like I say, how much more can they realistically do with the concepts they're going for? And Iron Studios, because they're 10th scale, I think we can take them out because they're a lot smaller. Again, Iron Studios have got a huge fan base and customer basis that buy from them, and the 10th scale is going to appeal to a lot of people, and obviously the pricing. So I'm going to put those two out of the rest of the running for this, because they are sort of exceptions to the rule, really. So that leaves us with 4. So we've got Queen Studios, Infinity Studios, Darkside Collectibles, and J&D Studios. Now, personal gut feeling, my genuine opinion on this is there isn't enough of that percentage of customer basis in Lord of the Rings. There is nowhere near enough. Not by any exaggeration of numbers is there enough financially money to go into the pot remaining to support 4 more companies. after the ones we've already discussed. It's just not there. And you can agree and disagree with it, but these 4 remaining companies, I can see at least 2, if not 3, abandoning their Lord of the Rings license sometime in the next 2 years. I genuinely can. I hope I'm wrong. Let me just say, I'm not enjoying saying that. I'm not taking any pleasure in saying. I'm not trying to deliberately wind anyone up. It's what I believe, what I feel, what I can see. I just can't realistically look at the available percentage fan base that's left, that's prepared to pour the amount of money in required to support 4 more companies after the ones we've already discussed. It's for me, it's not there. It's not remotely there. And like we said at the very start, even the massive giants like DC and Marvel have not got these number of companies to have to support in their licenses. So it's not going to happen for me. Now, we know that Queen Studios have said, Queen Studios so far we know have released one piece. It's sat behind me there, the Balrog, albeit in 2 scales. Incredible price on that piece, incidentally. And I've done a video on it. I adore that piece. But they've said they're taking a step back. I don't blame them one bit. But I think what we're going to see from Queen, this is only what I think we're going to see. I don't know, I have no facts, but I think they're going to churn out like a piece like that every now and again. They're just going to reveal it. We're going to get a bust, and it's going to probably come in 2 sizes, 2 very different price ranges, and they'll just tick over doing that. That's what I think. They might step their game up when they see some of the competition drop off, which, as I already said, I firmly believe is going to happen. So Queen are doing that. So you've got to sort of say Queen are either step back and they're only going to do the odd piece, or they're already backing out of the license, which leaves us with 3. So we've got Infinity, we've got Darkside, we've got J&D. Now, Darkside as yet have released nothing. J&D, I mean, they're late. They're the last ones to the game here. Have only revealed one piece, released nothing. And Infinity have released a 1/1 scale bust, which I own, and they've released their half scale Legolas, with the Gandalf coming up for release very soon, if not imminently, I believe. And obviously they've just revealed their 3rd piece in the half scale line, which is the amazing looking, although ridiculously priced, Gimli. I'm not getting into all that again. So 3 companies here, and I can't see there's room for them. I just can't. And just like I say, if you disagree with me, let me know. Yeah, please shove it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your opinions. Now, for me, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, incidentally, and I had to sort of back 3 companies, I need to sort of pick a 3rd company, and I've got to go for now. I've got to go for one of these 3, say, because obviously I've spoken about the other ones, and they're sort of set back out the sort of running technically. So which one would I go for? Which one? And I've looked at these companies individually now. J&D, I think, are going to do a handful of pieces. They're museum pieces. I think they're going to continue with their somewhat arrogant approach to each reveal that they do. I think they will achieve a small amount of success with them, because they have J&D have a core sort of customer basis as well that buy from them seemingly regardless. So I think they'll be all right, and I'll come out, and like I said before, I personally want to own a piece by J&D, as I do by Darkside Collectibles incidentally as well. And if Darkside Collectibles get their Mouth of Sauron out, I will be buying that from them. So we've got J&D with their seemingly pretty firm customer basis, which I think will do them enough to do a handful of pieces. I don't see much more than that, maybe 5 or 6 pieces from J&D, and that'll be it. Darkside have released a huge line that they've said they're going to do, which if they achieve will knock everybody else out anyway that remains. Now, even though they've not released anything yet, you see, so Darkside and Infinity. Yeah, with Infinity we've got the bust. I've got the bust upstairs. I love it. But Infinity, I know, certainly for everybody that's outside of Asia, We have to pay ridiculous shipping on it. I know that because I've had to pay it. The worst shipping bill I've ever paid. But they've got their half scale line, which they're doing, which is proving to be very popular, albeit with, let's be realistic, a very small percentage of collectors. And it is a small percentage. And the question is, are there enough collectors buying into this half scale line to support it? I've got to take into account the hefty price tags on these pieces, which plays a big part in it, as does the scales. Although third scale is far more popular from what I can see. Now, Darkside are doing third scale. They're also doing quarter scale. They're also incredibly cheaper than both J&D and Infinity, which, well, you're a fool if you think that doesn't come into it. And the other thing, and now, if you can watch my videos, you know I've not been waving flag for Darkside at all. I've given them a bit of stick in the past. But here's the thing for me, for the topic we're talking about now, I'm backing Darkside. And I'll tell you why. I'm backing Darkside over all those other companies that are left. Darkside for third place. They've got John Howe involved. To whatever degree, I don't know, but you're certainly getting a signed John Howe art print, which a lot of hardened Lord of the Ring collectors are going to massively value that. And I know a lot of you have messaged me and we've been chatting, and a lot of you are backing Darkside. A lot of you are. Also, they're in Europe, and they offer free shipping to Europe. And Europe has got a huge Lord of the Rings fan base, because it involves the UK as well, because they ship to the UK for free as well. And also, according to them, they emailed me and told me this, their prices also include the import fee. I don't know how accurate that is because I haven't had a piece off them yet. Unfortunately, I mean, I would have had the Witch King piece had it not been for the fact that I vastly preferred the Prime 1 piece. But like I say, if they get Math Sauron out, I'll be having it off them. Now, so for me, the fact they're doing third scale as well as quarter scale, the fact that they are vastly cheaper, the fact that they got John Howe on board, and the fact that they are based in Europe, if they can start getting their pieces actually out, I mean, I believe the Witch King is due to start shipping soon. I think Darkside have got more than an edge over these other companies. They've got more of a potential customer basis. And for me, like I say, if I was a gambling man, I'm not a gambler, but if I was, and you gave me £100, well, £50 would be on Wetter, £49 would be on Prime 1, and I'd put the last quid on Darkside. And that would be my bet for the companies that would still be churning out Lord of the Rings pieces in, let's say 2 years from now. The others, I wouldn't back them, personally. My opinion, I wouldn't back them. For the reasons I've given. There's not enough when we started talking about that fan base, percentage of fan base, which is being reduced all the time, being reduced by Wetter, being reduced by people who are already heavily invested in Prime 1, who are firing pieces out way, embarrassing the other companies, how quickly they're getting their pieces out. The pricing, the shipping, certainly you have got a small, and it is a small core of collectors who want the silicon hand-punched hair pieces, the ultra-realistic, and clearly don't mind paying these massively elevated prices. But the reality is, guys, to those of you who are doing that, is you are vastly outnumbered by those who aren't. Vastly outnumbered. And it all comes down to sales. And I can't see those other ones. Not in a market, an available market as small as Lord of the Rings is, and I say that with all due respect, I don't mean it's small, you know what I mean when I said it at the start. There is not going to be the financial input into the licenses to support these ultra high valued pieces. I just can't see it. I just can't see it, guys. And you've only got to look now at people who are selling Lord of the Rings pieces second hand and can't sell them. They are not selling. So if the second-hand market is struggling, then the primary market clearly has the same issue. I've sold 2 of my Lord of the Ring pieces, and I can only begin to tell you the issues I've had selling them and the price I've had to come down to. There's no market. So if there's no second-hand market, it stands to reason the primary market is going to be greatly affected. Anyway, as I seem to be saying at the end of every video now, I've got loads to do. And I've got so much to do, guys. I'm getting a little bit swamped by it all. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. We like a controversial one now and again, don't we? We have to get a controversial one in now and again. I enjoy doing them. I know a lot of you enjoy doing them, and I love reading all your comments and getting your feedback from them as well, guys. So if you've enjoyed it, guys, as always, you know the score. Please consider clicking that like button for me, because I really appreciate it. Appreciate all of you that take the time to leave comments and everything else. And if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing to the channel, because it's all a huge help, and makes it all worthwhile. So that's it for this one. I'm going to wrap this one up now, guys, and I will catch you all very soon on the next video. And I hope you're having a great week. Lovely weather, and guess what? I'm off. Yes. I'll catch you next one. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Cheers for watching, and ta-ra from me. Bye.